Welcome to Blamestorming. Blamestorming. In a post-truth world, there's plenty of blame to go around. 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 Join Dave Cyrus and Marissa Smith as they blamestorm about today's hot topics.
I think it's 9. I was just counting how many blames were in the intro. Hey, everybody, this is Blamestorming. I am one of your co-hosts, Dave Cyrus. Our other co-host is Marissa Smith.
Hey, guys.
Today, our guests are Gino Bisconti.
Hey, buddy.
And Sandeep Sen.
He's back. The British guy's back.
Yes, he is. Thank you, Nigel. We were just discussing roast battle. You know, most of the guests we have on this show have roast battled, as I know you guys both have. And you were saying, it's two schools of thought. Is it better to fight someone you're friends with or someone you hate?
Someone you're friends with. That's not even
It's so, it's got to be, like, well, that's the thing. I was saying, like, the old roast battles, like, are so much better than what I see them evolving into. And the ones, and I'm not just saying this because I like them better, but New York Comedy Club, I like their roast battles better because the judge, like, I don't like what it's become with the judges in the forefront, like what it is on Comedy Central, where the judges sit there and try and be funnier than the roast when that's not what it's supposed to be about, in my opinion. You know,
judges are usually there for when the comics suck.
Yeah,
that's when they're usually supposed to do their really heavy lifting.
Yes.
Yeah, the good thing about the roast is you have to see kind of the love behind it. I think that makes it more fun, and also when you're friends, you know these subtle things that you can make fun of that make it so much more authentic.
Because I'm facing Maddie Smith at New York Comedy Club November 8th. I have some other ones.
That's going to be great.
I think I'm
not
also facing Catherine Zinni at CFC when the stand comes back, and I'm supposed to do another one at LA because I hate myself and I just really need to prove to people constantly that I'm good. But no, Maddie's like the closest friend I've been, one of my closest friends that I've ever done this with. So it's actually, and the fucked up thing is, me and Maddie are both the same. We're the worst people for this because we don't enjoy it. We just are obsessed with being the best.
Yeah.
So it's just
the craft of a roast joke.
Yeah. Like we don't have the fun. Like it's fun, but like we're not one of these people. Like I think you, Gino, you really have fun up there.
I do.
And I think me and Maddie are more just like, God damn it, if I lose this, I'm gonna slip my goddamn. And that's why it's gonna be a good one because we really put a lot of work into it. But I mean, I've seen yours. I think I've judged some of yours.
Maybe, yeah.
I think I have. Yeah, I think I judged you when. There was one that, like, it wasn't your fault. It was not your fault.
It usually
but
is.
But the audience turned on you
because
before you started.
Yeah.
Because you just wouldn't. You were just riffing a hair too much.
Oh,
they turned on you.
Oh, but that's just it. Like Mad Dog, forgive me, James Mattern said it perfectly. He's like, you're the professional wrestler. You're like the heel.
Yeah.
Like there's times I'm like, I'll let you hate me because I'm going to get my lines in. I don't care one way or the other, you know? But yeah. No, that might have been the Ali Breen one. Might have been the Ali Breen roast.
Very well. Yeah, I think it probably was. It's just I love seeing people have fun up there, and I love seeing people take real risks.
Yeah.
I mean, I was recently judging. I'll talk about this a little bit. I was judging between Mia Hammond and Chloe McGovern.
Sure.
Both really good. And they both did, like, really brave shit that, like, Chloe tried to use Siri and it didn't work. And, like, the whole thing, like, fell apart. And she had a whole thing where she wanted to call her dad with Siri to point out that Mia can't call her dad. Even though her dad is alive, which is even meaner. And then Mia just did a bunch of rape jokes about the fact that Chloe smells so bad. Mike, I mean, it was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. Yeah. Like, she turned rape jokes into, like, almost like childlike silliness jokes. And, like, it blunted the harshness of it. It was...
There's a craft to it. It's
I really
incredible.
respected like that both of them were able to like, because that's the thing. I think roast battle. It's supposed to be you can say anything here and it's horrible to an extent. You know, you don't because it has to be a joke. That's all.
Right.
And I just love the idea of people just trying really hard to figure out new ways of making a joke, not just relying on their act.
Right. But it helps when you know the person. That adds to it. Like when they brought the roast battle here, shameless plug. When they brought the roast battle to New York, the first one we did, it was me and Vecchione, and that was a great one because, you know, like we'd known each other for so long, and you could just say terrible things to each other. But the other, like, I was laughing and vice versa harder than anyone when we made fun of you. You know what I mean? Like, that's the beauty of a roast battle nowadays. But I feel like they're getting away from it to some extent. But you can't complain because what works, works. And what they've taken to Comedy Central now, which was a complete slap in the face of the Stand because they did it at the Cellar or the Underground. You know, it's the judges and a celebrity judge, you know, like critiquing the people more than just letting the roast stand on its own.
Which is, of course, a big part of the reason why Lewis stopped doing the Roast Masters at the Stand, because he felt snubbed that only one real New York battler, Eli, made it on. I mean, Kim was there, Kim Congdon was there, but she was known as an LA battler. She'd already been on the show as an LA battler. And, a lot of people were kind of, it wasn't that they were offended that anyone was like, no, I should have been here. It's more that they're like, oh, so I guess there's isn't really an avenue to get to the show, is it?
Yeah.
And it's funny because I talked to a much bigger comedian who was like, it should just be famous people. And then all you nerds should just be writing their jokes. And I'm like, on some level, I kind of get that. If it was Jim Norton versus David Tell, yeah, that might be something to get some traction because the TV show's not that big.
No.
But if they got real comics, people I think would really
But
be
the
into
bigger
it.
names you use for the Comedy Central roast, which are also garbage compared to what you used to have, and this is me being the cranky old comedian, the old Dean Martin roast, which were great. Now it's like perfect example. The Rob, because I write for some of those, the Rob Lowe roast.
I wrote for a lot of those too.
You'll never see the Rob Lowe roast again. You'll never see that.
Really?
Again. I promise you.
You think because of the jokes being too dirty?
No, because Comedy Central got too full of themselves and were trying to make fun of Ann Coulter on that roast, and right now she looks like a prophet on that roast.
I was very proud of my Ann Coulter jokes in that one.
Oh.
Let me tell you the one that did not make it on the air.
I'm sitting here sipping my coffee.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear.
The one that didn't make it on the air that I was very disappointed was, what's with this dais? No black people and Ann Coulter? What are we roasting, a cross?
Why wouldn't that make it on? That's brilliant.
I'm clapping like the monkey with cymbals right now.
But the one, I'll tell you, me and Sandeep were talking about that I work for Triumph. Funny story. I got the Triumph job. One of my jokes was about Ann Coulter, and it didn't make it in the show, and that was the joke that ended up being on the roast. Ann Coulter, if you're here, who's scaring the crows away from our crops?
I remember that one.
Funny story about that joke. Before Ann Coulter was on, that was going to be a Nikki Glaser joke.
Yeah.
Nikki Glaser was the luckiest person who ever lived when Ann Coulter got hired, because suddenly all the scarecrow jokes got moved to her.
Yeah, they shifted. That's so funny.
I'm missing something. What was wrong with the Rob Lowe?
Just too dirty, you mean?
No, I just mean like they made fun of Ann Coulter the whole time.
Right.
And she went up and she was talking about how Trump was going to be the next president, and everyone was like booing her and stuff, but she's right. Like Comedy Central looked kind of dumb, in hindsight for doing that.
Ann Coulter was there because every Comedy Central roast has someone who's just there to get shit on.
Oh, without a doubt.
She was the carrot top. She was the situation. And she should have known that.
I think she did in a way, and she went up there like a trooper.
Wow.
And when she went up there and she was talking about, I'm here to plug our next president, that's when I'm saying Comedy Central won't show the roast.
Well, no, they'll show it because they like the way she got shit on. But I'll say this about Ann Coulter. If she had not been so stubborn and had accepted the jokes that were given to her, she would have had a heel turn and people would have begrudgingly said, okay, good job, Ann.
Right.
Today we'll be friends for today, and tomorrow we'll hate you again. But she would have been celebrated and would have been like, "Oh, what a good sport Ann Coulter was." But she wasn't. She was a bad sport about the jokes about her, and then she was just bad at comedy, and people couldn't forgive her. Just like the situation, though. Personally, I think the situation at the Donald Trump roast, I think he was set up. I personally think they were like, "Hey, do you have any good jokes? Well, I'm sure they're great. You don't need any of ours."
He's garbage.
I think the appeal of roast shows now is that because we're getting too politically correct and everyone's losing their sense of humor, there's something refreshing about roast battles where you can just say the shittiest things about someone, and we understand that it's comedy.
But even these are being turned on their side. Like, have you heard of these things? Well, obviously you have. You guys are in the biz more. The boast rattles. Have you heard of those now?
I've heard of it. I don't really know what it is.
Gay,
What's
and I
a
don't mean
boast
good
battle?
gay. A boast rattle. It's the opposite. You compliment someone. Like, instead of insulting them.
I wasn't okay.
This is for people that need verbal hugs.
I was in something like that.
Yes.
But is it funny?
Wait, it's supposed to be funny. Can I tell you one joke?
There's no edge to it.
Can I tell you my boast rattle?
You can tell me tons. I love your roast jokes.
Let me tell you a boast rattle, because I was on something like that called the Toast of Ed Galvez. It was like a toast instead of a roast.
Yeah,
And,
it is same thing, but it's
in L.A. and it was like at the Punk House show, and I said, "Here's a toast. What's the difference between Ed Galvez and a sewer rat? One is a disgusting pot-bellied vermin I like to step on and break its neck, and the other is Ed Galvez."
yeah.
I mean, that's what I think that's supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be just an even worse insult
yeah.
that you pretend is.
Yeah. The other is Ed Galvez.
Oh, I love Ed Galvez so much. Star of Amigo Undead. Great man. Anyway, let's talk about rape in the news because that is
Finally!
that is all that people are talking about. With, you know what, I think good reason. And Marissa, just jump in whenever you have something you want us to talk about. But I was going to say, we've been talking about the Kavanaugh thing. It's a huge story. All I want to say is that I would have voted against him just for looking like the old guy at the frat. Just for looking like the guy who comes back just for Hell Week.
Yeah, the creepy dude. Hey, I can get you kids beer.
I mean, yeah, I think that everyone is going to be talking about Kavanaugh, especially because I think that the investigation is supposed to end by Friday. Some reports are saying that it might wrap up today or tomorrow, but
unless they find a finger, damn it! Unless they find a picture of Brett Kavanaugh sniffing Clarence Thomas's fingers, I don't think this is going anywhere. Just those two guys are just going to sit around just
with a creepy look on their face.
Oh God!
they only do that on Snapchat.
Clarence Thomas.
So is he going to get the nomination? You guys know this political shit. I honestly,
he's definitely going to get it. I feel bad for Sonia Sotomayor. That bitch is getting raped. If those two are on the, they're just going to close the door to the chambers.
My God, Sandeep.
I think that like Sotomayor is too much of a challenge for him. He's going to be like getting on Ginsburg.
He's going to
Ginsburg.
Clarence Thomas is going to play the role of Mike Judge. Clarence Thomas is going to be laughing in the corner and just making sure the door is locked.
People are sneaking human growth hormone in Ruth Bader Ginsburg's coffee.
Yeah,
they are doing everything they can. They're secretly turning her bed into a cryogenic chamber at night. They want her to live so bad.
Yeah,
I mean, this. I don't know, man. I watched those.
It's going to be a weekend at Bernie's situation in the Supreme Court. If Will Bader,
no, you know what? You know what?
Like, no, she's alive, and she's going to be like,
you know what might happen? Yeah. This might piss off people so much because I mean, we saw. We should probably get into this. Trump ridiculing Ford at his rally.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which, by the way, there was nothing politically for him to gain from that. It's just emotion. It's just this is what he needs to do because he needs to create a world where everyone doesn't believe women, so they don't believe his accusers. That's all this is to him.
Well, no, the people in this rallies were cheering, so he does have.
It was a very red state, a very conservative state.
But that's his
doing,
base.
Right?
They're cheering, but that hurts
40%
him. It hurts
his
him.
base.
No, that hurts him with the majority of Americans. To say that what he said hurts him more than helps him, he just knows that those people will cheer anything he says.
Whoa! What about was that? Oh, I thought he was talking about blacks. Okay,
but let me say something about the
those
rally.
people. All right.
Very good. Let me say something about that rally.
I'm pointing.
I appreciate it. You're getting on the board.
I know Dave didn't announce it today. Normally he announces it.
What? That Marissa is black. Everyone, Marissa is black. I am Jewish. Sandeep is Indian. Correct?
Yes, that's right.
And Gino is. I'm just going to
gave
throw
it
a
away?
dart and say Italian.
Obnoxious, loud, and Italian.
Yeah. See, now I lost what I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so this is something I wanted to talk about his rallies. This is something I've noticed when I watch his rallies, when I watch Trump rallies. This is what I see over and over again that I find really interesting. He says something intentionally controversial, right? Like he says provocative,
without a
things
doubt.
that he knows most people will be offended by because it makes him look, brave to say it.
Well, most Democrats,
I think most people are offended by like a lot of the stuff
Let me
he
ask
says.
you this, and I'm asking. I'm not like interviewing. I'm asking. I think, and someone said this to me once, and I believe it. Like he'll say outrageous things. There's no question. Provocative. Yeah. You're being nice. But I think he does it to get the Democrats to just lose their mind and tweet about it and just respond even more crazily.
That's part of it.
Okay, that's what I heard him just ask.
But the problem is that's edgelording, and that's just
never
heard
that
trolling.
word.
It's just trying to get people upset because that's kind of what Trump people do now. They just get off on upsetting people. That's what brings up my point.
Yeah, because they just want liberal tears.
Right. It's a very
verbal
toxic
hugs,
kind of thing.
tears.
But here's what I notice about his rallies. This is what I always see. He says something fucked up. And then behind him, you'll see a smattering of people, even though he's not being funny, they'll do this same thing. They will laugh, they will have a surprised look on their face, and they will look to the person next to them.
And see if it's okay or see if they're with him?
Yeah. This
I'm going to notice that now.
This
I guarantee
feels like a fetishism to me. This is like they're becoming adrenaline junkies, and they're getting surges of adrenaline from just experiencing, I can't believe he's willing to say this horrible thing.
Well, I also feel like that has to do with the camera placement because about a month ago there was, I can't remember what state.
Yeah, that high school student.
Yeah, and he wasn't being enthusiastic
He was
enough.
reacting like a normal human being would react to seeing someone acting like this.
I didn't see this. What happened?
Yeah, so like he was like a high school school kid. They had him right behind Trump, but he was like in view of the cameras, and he wasn't like clapping and hollering and
So they
laughing.
bumped him, he got
so,
bumped.
yeah, so they told him that they were replacing him, and then he had to talk to the Secret Service for like 2 hours. And
He was also acting like anyone who had never heard of this Donald Trump person. Like literally any human being, Republican or Democrat, if you had never known this person and you just stood behind him while he was saying that, anyone would be doing the looks this kid was giving it. He was just giving looks like every few minutes he'd be like, what? Like just like what the fuck did he just say?
We're gonna kill all the Jews. What did he? That can't be right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
But I think that kind of and I know you've said a couple of times, Dave, that you think that most people are horrified by this, but like there's I just read an article that was kind of talking about, you know, like the 53% of white women that voted for him that think that not only is what he is doing fine, but they also think that what Kavanaugh, even if he did do what Ford is saying, that they think that's fine. Yeah. And that there's
They have
just,
to say that.
you know, like there's because they don't believe.
These are the same people that would give the exact same answer for if Trump really did collude with Russia, do you think he should be impeached? And they're going to say no.
Well, for conservative women, they feel like, you know, this is boys being boys, and that men just are essentially rapists, and like, you know, like men are going to do this stuff. They can't help themselves. Like, they've got their urges.
I think these are the people who say a rapist is someone who jumps out of the bushes. This is a bad. They're the people who like they have that real like it's only rape when you don't know the guy kind of mentality. It's very easy to act that way because you know why? Because they live in a much better world than we do, don't they? They live in a world where women almost never get raped. They live in a world where this shit doesn't really happen, and you know most women are lying about it. Which, hey, that would be a much better world, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Where there were so fewer of these happening. But I don't know, man. I just don't find unbelievable. I mean, every rape accusation is more likely than not true. Everyone should be investigated. None should be taken without even looking at it, without investigating. But statistically, it's not like more than half these women are lying or even close to that. That's why it's weird to just have this attitude where Trump's up there being like, oh, think about the poor men who every woman wants to lie about. Look, and the emotion he's injecting into this is just gross. Like, look at your poor little baby boy. Look at your poor little baby boy. Someone's going to say that he raped somebody. It's going to happen. Like, that's the game he's playing now. He's saying, hey, everyone, aren't you afraid that your dad raped someone? Don't you want to just get all these to go away?
Well, I mean, I feel like most of these red states, the only reason why they're here is because of rape, but that's just my opinion.
Jesus. Well, okay, you're black. You're right to say that.
Bold statement.
Well, you know, they don't believe in abortion in those parts because they can't read.
Yeah,
but
they still get them. There's people who are against abortion.
do they
still
even
get
make
them when they
wire
have to.
hangers anymore?
They're all plastic. It's damn near impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I'm just like it's dumbfounding to me that a lot of conservative women they you know they try to hold on to some sort of like traditional ideal of like gender roles, but then they say that like, you know, like these are boys being boys, but if like the traditional gender role is a man is supposed to protect and provide, so how is raping
not in the
being
Bible.
Protecting?
It's
like,
not in the
Well,
Bible.
if you buy her like her drinks that night.
then you're providing,
Yeah,
but
you're
how are
providing.
you protecting?
Well, it's also about saying, well, maybe they'll say he
You're
did
protecting
something
him from
wrong.
other rapists because they can't, like, while your penis is in her, like other people.
Well, Kellyanne Conway.
Well, I mean, apparently Kavanaugh and Judge have figured out a way.
Kellyanne Conway recently, when
Said
said she was
Yeah.
assaulted, but then she transitioned immediately to, but we're all responsible for ourselves, and it's like, Jesus, Kelly.
Yeah, it was the most.
Just be a person for a second.
It was the most obviously political move to try and soften everything. Well, it happened to me too, but I'm over it. That's what she.
I'm
basically
over
said.
it? Yeah.
That's what she basically said.
Yeah,
See
like
what Connie
she's not
Chung
like
said
a
today?
60-year-old anorexic because she's over her rape.
You see what Connie Chung came out today, put out an article saying that when she wrote a letter to Christine Ford, Connie Chung, when she was 22, was sexually assaulted by the man who delivered her as a baby, her gynecologist.
Jesus Christ.
Gross.
Yeah, and she said, She says, I don't remember what week it was, what year it was. I don't remember anything about that day, but I'm 100% sure I know exactly what he did to me. Because she was trying to say, that's how you remember things. And this was 1968.
You remember people.
That's when
You
she was
remember
raped by
people.
her ugh,
Yeah.
that's terrible.
She's born in 1946.
She was not.
Yeah.
I've not seen. How's she aging? I haven't seen her lately. I know that's a weird question.
I mean, she's definitely not the Connie Chung you remember, but
She's still banging
But
Maury
for
Povich.
70s, she looks amazing. Yeah. No, I saw her, and I was like, you hadn't seen her in
Gino's
years.
like, let me Google this.
It's exactly what I'm doing. I've been using the Hey Google thing, but I'm going to take a peek. All right.
Connie Chung, America's introduction to falling in love with Asian women.
Yeah.
Basically, is when I was a little kid in the 80s, Connie Chung was like the first non-white sex symbol for Asian people. Like in
Is that
America.
just because you're a Jew and in the Jewish community? She
Is that
started.
a thing with Asians? Do
No
Asians?
exception.
Do Jews like Asians? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
Who doesn't like Asians?
Let me tell you more about.
I
the
mean, I thought
Jews,
everybody
Eli.
likes
All right,
Asians.
I agree. I'm on Dave's page.
John Lone was my first Asian crush.
Who?
John Lone. He was in The Last Emperor.
No.
the child,
Not the child,
the
the man.
8-year-old.
No,
okay.
the man.
I like
I
the
don't
chick
know.
from Karate Kid Part 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, you mean Hillary Swank? Because she's not Asian.
No, in Karate
Sorry.
Kid Part 2, he goes to Okinawa.
No, I know
Japan.
that was Karate Kid 3.
okay.
Yeah, she was. No, I mean she was an actress. She's obviously beautiful. No, I didn't.
Not bad. Not bad at all, right?
Oh no,
Yeah.
dude, that's a woman in her 70s. That is amazing.
That's fucking delicious.
Once again, feel like that's not what we should be talking about immediately after her sexual assault allegation. But no, she said that her gynecologist basically took advantage of her.
Right.
Said he did exactly what Larry Nassar was accused of. He
That ass.
turned what was supposed to be a examination into something sexual, and she said she never told anyone. She was humiliated. It was the 60s.
Yeah. Who's going to believe a friggin' young Asian girl in the 60s? Honest to God, I'm not trying to be funny.
And they say my gynecologist touched me inappropriately. She would have been laughed at.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That she should have been laughed at. I mean,
I just think we have to remember.
Should.
Yeah, we have to remember one of the worst things about this is Trump going on Twitter and saying any woman who doesn't report it right away is a liar, which he did say.
I can't believe he said that. That's ridiculous.
Okay, that's me interpreting what he said.
Okay.
What he said was, if this really happened, she would have told people when it happened.
Right.
Which
Well,
is basically the same thing.
Well,
That
not
is the
saying
same
any,
thing.
but he's saying it specifically about
Well-
her, which is terrible.
Yeah, and because Trump is using this as just another culture war. He's using this like another Colin Kaepernick. He's saying, "White men, I'm the only one protecting you. Everyone's against you. Follow me."
You don't want to touch on Colin Kaepernick here because
No.
I will
If you're
go
against
off on-
Colin Kaepernick, we can talk about that. But I'm just saying, Trump is against Colin Kaepernick because he sees it as an opportunity to get the people on his side angry.
If Colin Kaepernick were sitting right here, I would sit down and get hammered with the guy. I think he's a great dude, but I hate how this is what drives me nuts when people rally around and be like, he's being blackballed because he's black and he knelt for the anthem. No, he's not a good quarterback. He's not a good quarterback.
And you know what? As long as we're talking about his actual ability as a quarterback, there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, what was it? Jason Collins? Was that the basketball player who was gay?
Yeah.
When I remember people would talk shit about him, they'd be like, "Oh, get this guy off the court," and then someone else would be like, "Oh, he's not even a good player." I'm like, no, you can still say that.
Yeah.
In fact, that's all we want is
Yeah.
to keep just talking about his ability to play.
I'm a Bears fan. He's better than Mike Glennon, all right? He's better than a lot of
He was
backup-
bad. I used to sit in the
He went
playground.
to a
backup
Super Bowl.
quarterbacks.
I used to
Colin
sit-
Kaepernick
He's
did go to a
better
Super
than the
Bowl.
quarter.
He
He's
did.
better than all third-string quarterbacks. He's better than many second-string
Okay, I'm gonna
quarterbacks.
say this
He's
to-
better than Mike Glennon. I can speak for that more as
I'm going to say
professional.
this.
I will
I'm going
admit-
to say this to you once, and you're going to remember this, and you're going to listen. Okay? He was 3-10 as a starter. He would have played more. You're going to listen. He would have played more, but he had a ridiculous overpaid contract that he signed after he played 2 years where he was still not a very accurate passer. But in the NFL, people that do their job, unlike Colin Kaepernick, and study game tape, they figure you out. And suddenly, you're not that good. And you do get to the Super Bowl, but you call for the same play 4 times, throwing to Michael Crabtree in the right corner of the end zone. Then you have this huge contract, and you don't start the first 4 games. Why? Because you don't want him to get hurt, and then have to pay him all this money when he stinks. Then he restructures his contract, goes 3-10 as a starter. Now, stupid people that don't pay attention will be like, look at the big numbers he put up. He put them up in a prevent defense. And when you're down 30 points, teams will let you score. Now, let's address the Mike Glennon thing. The job of a backup quarterback is the 1% of the time the starter gets hurt, the job is to fill in for him. 99% of the time, which, you're Indian, you do math. It's a lot more.
Let's talk about the 85 Bears real quick.
99% of the time, it's to make the starting quarterback better. Colin Kaepernick cannot make the starting quarterback better because he cannot watch game tape and help him study. The backup quarterback on the Chargers for years was Kellen Clemens. Now, you don't need to know football for this stupid joke I'm about to do. But you know what the difference between Kellen Clemens and the late E Street Band Clarence Clemens member is?
I remember him, yeah.
One less dead arm. Okay. But as bad as Kellen Clemens is as a
I
quarterback.
actually get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As bad as Kellen Clemens is as a quarterback, Phillip Rivers would sit next to him and he would help him with game tape. I'm going to ask you a yes-no question. Do you think Colin Kaepernick would sit in the film room and help a guy study game tape?
I have no idea.
Well, the answer is no. You got the no in there. You put other stupid words around it. Finally, Colin Kaepernick was a cancer in the clubhouse. So bringing him there, and I will say this, I will give you this. The fact that he knelt for the anthem doesn't help at all. But the final question is, why am I bringing in a guy that can't help as a backup, that can't play as a starter, and all he's going to do is piss off half the fan base? Why would you bring him in? Because Mike Glennon stinks, we're done with Colin Kaepernick. All right, go.
Well, but
if he were here
there
right
is an
now, I would
acknowledgement
get
that he-
hammered with the guy because he's a good dude.
There is okay, fine. No, look, you could say he's a bad player. I don't have a problem with that. And look, no one's denying that he wasn't exactly a guy selling
I was the
jerseys
guy in the
before.
stands at the Nets game yelling at the gay dude, "You stink." And I said, "You can't suck my dick." Normally you yell at guys, "Suck my dick." I'm like, "You can't suck my dick."
Yeah, see that's
Long way for that stupid shit.
I will say that is the progress we want. Exactly. That we want you to be just as mean, just not about his being.
That's it. What I say about Cameron, like I think
I get it. No, I get
the
that.
Nike ad campaign, brilliant. I love it. I love what they did there. You know,
Yeah. No, look, the guy.
Mike Glennon could not read film. Everything you said.
you really are
Maybe true, but
you're a Buccaneers
are
fan.
you sure that he can, how would you know that he can't, what his relative ability of reading film is compared to
Because-
like other
no, that-
third-string
that-
quarterbacks?
Roger Breckenridge watched film all day and all night, and he was still never put up any numbers.
Yeah,
I just made that name up.
Like, if everything you said is
Google-
true. Those are great arguments.
You could Google it. It's a fact. Like
Okay.
as the years went on, they kept trying to make the playbook smaller and smaller for him, and he couldn't pick it up. But that's the thing. Some guys just like are really good at studying tape. Like Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a small little fucking, Russell Wilson, small little fucking dude.
I don't even know any of these people exist.
How do you think I felt the past hours where you're talking about politics
And Russell Wilson's
and
black.
current
I mean,
events?
You should at least know him.
I'm pretty sure Drew Brees is Chris Brown's nickname.
I'm done with
Is
all
that the
you
guy
people. I'm
that
leaving.
invented Febreze?
No, look, it's
I'm going to ignore you now. You're just
as long as
you're
the
being bullies.
when the argument is about playing, that's fair. It's like, yeah, you're not sitting here just ranting that he's a piece of shit because he wanted to kneel. Which, by the way, he knelt because they said don't sit, show respect. And he goes, okay, I'll show respect by kneeling, but not standing. So,
An ex-Marine told him
everyone
that.
ignored that. Everyone ignored that. He was like, no, guys. I'm specifically kneeling to let the veterans know this isn't about them.
Yeah.
That's where the bullshit came in. Because Trump was like, Trump had a heart attack when he did that. He was like, no. You have to sleep. You have to not kneel. You have to just stay
You
down.
understand Trump hates the NFL because they wouldn't give him a team.
Yeah.
Trump always goes after the NFL.
He also hates the NFL because he probably identifies with all the poor owners. Well, he wishes he was one. That's true.
By the way, I just want to say that was the most intelligent thing about Colin Kaepernick. Why he shouldn't be hired.
That's
That
why.
I've ever read articles. That was awesome.
I do this for a living. I
I just
cover
wanna say
sports.
that was
There's
Follow
nothing
my-
wrong with not liking him as a player.
Yeah, but that was such a nice, detailed reason.
The
though.
final straw of it all is when you get through all that, you're like, and he knelt for the anthem. I'm not saying that's just the last straw. It's like he brings nothing to the table except that controversy.
He was a clubhouse problem.
He was. He was in Google Kaepernick, island in the clubhouse, and you'll see 8 stories from, when he was there. He's just not. He's just never. He never. He
the
never
same
improved
time,
as a player.
Do you remember that run against Minnesota though? I mean,
Dude,
How about
when he
that?
was young, he was electrifying, but people figure you out. That's
There's
what the
also
NFL does.
But then you look at guys like Richie Incognito, and you say
that guy went bananas.
I don't know, he's no longer playing, right?
Have you,
He
I
kind of fell apart. I heard.
I write for radio every night. I do a sports sheet, so I read this stuff. And he lost his marbles. He
Yeah.
the other guy too, Jonathan Martin. Like after a bullying thing, tweeted a picture of guns saying something. This is how you handle bullies. And then just recently, Richie Incognito was at a gym throwing weights at people, acting erratically, and that's all they covered. And it went away till 2 weeks later, or 2 months, 2 years, whatever. Like about 2 months ago, his father died, and he was choking someone in the friggin' funeral home or something.
By the way, he seemed to have a real. But when I read that story, it sounds like a real mental illness.
By the way,
it's
speaking
that
of football,
CTE shit.
Speaking of, I was just going to say, speaking of football, you know what can make this whole point moot? We should stop having football. Football is really bad for people.
What would I gamble on? And poorly at that, by the way.
I mean,
Horses?
at this point, is it even football
Shut up.
anymore? At this point, does it even count as football?
I know the way they're changing. I don't.
You can't tackle someone while keeping your head upright. It's not
Yeah.
even possible.
But I don't think people are like, oh, we're going to be playing. The NFL will never go away. It'll change, but it's the greatest product in America the way it's marketed. It really is. And you know who said it perfectly? Al Michaels. Because look, I love baseball. I do. I know people think it's boring, but let me tell you something. If the four of us are hanging out in the middle of January, we'll go to a bar and watch a football game. I'm not sitting there and watching in the cold and the rain TV timeouts. But if it's the middle of friggin' July, we're all fucking going to Citi Field. We're watching a Phillies game. We're having a beer. Like, it's the best. But Al Michaels, like, this is why it translates perfectly to TV. Football is made to be watched on TV rather than at the stadium. It's like
baseball is made to be watched in person.
Exactly.
Good God, who could sit and watch a baseball game on TV?
You ever see the episode years ago, The Simpsons, when Homer has to quit drinking and he's at the baseball game and it's like a Vin Scully guy. Now he might have cracked and he's just talking and then
Oh no! Here comes the ball boy, rigging another ball.
and then they just go.
Looks
Homer,
like he doesn't like that one. Gonna get another.
they zoom in on Homer's not drinking at the game. He's like, I never realized how boring this game was.
Like, baseball harkens back to a time before even radio, when like people had a lot of hours to fill in a day. And I mean, my dad would watch baseball, and I would just look at him like as if he had died. Like, just like, I can't believe you can. It's like looking at someone on a plane.
Where did you
just
grow
sit
up,
there and
Dave?
look forward. Here,
Oh, okay.
Brooklyn, Jersey.
So he was a Yankees guy?
Oh yeah, huge Yankees fan. I'm a
for
huge
him.
disappointment. My whole family loves Yankees, Knicks, and Jets. I never gave a shit about any of them.
Oh, you're lucky you didn't give a fuck about the Jets.
My whole family rep the Jets still. Who?
But that's loyalty. I'm a Charger
Yeah.
fan, and I grew up in Philly. But you just like that's the other thing about the NFL. You're more loyal to those teams than you are other sports. I feel I really do. Just because it's a every week leading up. It's just how you get into it and stuff. I interrupted you, Marissa.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
okay. Yeah, like I can't. I'm not a sports person at all, but like baseball and football, I really can't watch. Like I can watch hockey because it's so much faster.
Chicks love hockey.
It's real. It's fast. It's like when I watch baseball, I feel like I have ADD, and then football, it's just too many stops. Like I just want something fast, get it over with. Like
Sounds like that
See,
dick
I
pic
feel
video.
that way.
Yeah.
See, I can't watch
that's the other
basketball.
episode. Never
I can't watch basketball because like that seems too repetitive. At least football, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, I love football, and I've really gotten it. I used to live with Kevin Dombrowski, great comedian.
Yeah.
He's a genuine LeBron James fan, so he loved the Cavs, and he really got me into basketball. Like it's fun. Like there's certain sports I get into more in the postseason, like basketball playoffs. It's a storyline, but I like and the Sixers. I'm all Philly except for and the Sixers really started to come together last year. So I watched a couple of their games, but basketball's fun to watch. It goes quickly too, and that's fun to gamble on. Oh, let me tell you, it's
The
fun
only
to
thing I've
gamble
ever
on.
gambled on is UFC because it was the only thing I felt I knew enough about to actually
I don't know.
make
God
good
bless
bets.
you. I can't get into UFC.
See,
They're
that's-
incredible athletes.
That's the
but
only sport I've ever liked because the only sport I was ever good at.
the most
you know?
brilliant joke about UFC, Artie Lang, pre whatever he's on. It's brilliant because it sums it up perfectly and it's hilarious. It's like UFC to me looks like two gay guys are having sex. And 2 minutes in, the guy on the bottom realizes he's not gay anymore. It's exactly what it looks like to me. I love that joke.
See, I always say the thing about people when they say that fighting looks like sex, I always say you're wrong. Sex looks like fighting. They're both just as old as each other. They don't. Intercourse is just as old as fistfights.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I like that just because I think it's just a primal violence thing.
Oh no, I think I just can't get into it, but
Yeah.
like I could see how you could. I'm not sitting there saying, "Oh, it's stupid." I just can't get
I'm
into
torn
it.
because the big fight this weekend is Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov, and the problem with that fight.
Gesundheit. Sorry.
The problem.
Indian?
No, he's
Khabib
from
Nurmagomedov.
He's Dagestani.
He's a little rat.
So he's Russian.
He's a little rat.
So
Isn't that
it's
what he
either
called him?
now I've lost
it's
interest.
either someone who takes his picture with Putin
Yeah.
or Conor McGregor, who
Yeah.
also takes pictures with Putin. So I hate them both. I mean, with Conor
But
versus
McGregor is so good for the
when
sport.
it was Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, I literally was like, I don't care who wins, I just hope someone gets hurt.
I don't know.
I hate
Conor
them both.
McGregor looks like the hottest reason to get HPV.
Is he really that hot?
I mean,
Was
He
just
likes
the
a
attitude.
dangerous guy.
he's yeah. I mean, I'd say it's pretty hot.
Okay. He's got a lion and a monkey on his chest.
Dave is
Compared to
nonplussed.
Keanu Reeves, who's
No, Keanu Reeves is my heart. Like you know, this is like I feel like Conor McGregor is like one of those things like you're on vacation and like you're never gonna like you know what I mean? Like he's a vacation.
You've already
kinda
got a
dude.
scenario mapped out for this.
Yeah.
I think it's like a Thursday, and you had a couple drinks at the bar,
I don't-
and
Yeah.
you bump into him.
I don't
oh,
like-
I'm sorry.
I don't like Connor because as a comic, I think his improvisation sucks. I think I feel his shit talking is just kind of like forced. I don't buy it. I think he's just trying to be an entertainer.
Right.
Same thing with Chael Sonnen, who I don't
No idea who that is.
Chael
I don't
Sonnen,
either.
he's the best shit talker in it. And he's good at it, but it still seems like an act.
Is he
I like
cute?
guys who are just too simple to not act crazy. I like it when like BJ Penn or Nick Diaz, they mean it. They are just like, I am honestly offended that you are willing to fight me, and I'm going to talk shit about you until the day we fight.
Yeah, see, you really get into it. I only know the big names. Like I got into it when Rousey was, had that
Oh,
undefeated streak. That was just like fun to watch. You
That
know
was
what I
great.
mean?
Yeah, I met her right after she got her first knockout.
Oh, wait, after she got it or after she got knocked out? I'm sorry. Okay.
Well, she was when I was working at SNL. She was a host, and she was already booked, and then she lost. Oh, and
Before she came on.
right.
Wow.
And I pitched a joke to her, not realizing that she'd be offended by it. Where I wanted her to play Sleeping Beauty, not thinking, oh yeah, you just got famously knocked out.
So
Did she kick her ass?
she said no.
She was very nice.
Yeah, she's in WWE now, and she's perfect for it. Like she brought back the Rowdy Roddy Piper stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. She's such a charismatic person.
She's made for the WWE because she looks so hot, at least to me in real life. And then she gets in the ring, I'm like, ooh, gross. But when she battles in WWE, she gets to wear makeup, and she still looks
She
sexy.
really
to
is
me.
beautiful.
Yeah,
like for a professional fighter.
and she
is
seems you met her.
gorgeous.
She seems just very genuine.
She was
Yeah,
very nice.
that's great.
She's a bit of a jock, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
But she's nice. What you got, Marissa?
Oh, I was kind of zoned out because I'm like, we're still talking about sports.
2-0
We
Yankees.
stopped. I'm trying to get you to help us out of this.
The Yankees
So-
are up 2-0. Call your father and tell
Stop
him
it.
you're watching.
So now, Dave, did you hear about this investigation that the Times did into Trump's finances and his fraudulent taxation?
No, I want to talk about the Rangers. Now,
He's just being a dick.
yeah. No, the funny thing about the story is they're coming out. They found what they did was obviously no one has Trump's taxes because he doesn't release them because then he would no longer be president. They found his dad's taxes,
Right.
and that's how they were started to see that he gave hundreds of millions of equivalent today's money to his son as tax shelters. Which, by the way, I'm not mad about that. I don't think any billionaire out there isn't trying to hide their money from the government.
Sure.
It's just when you're president, we get to fuck you with that.
Well, also, I think that
And you're not a self-made man.
Well, that's the thing.
He made
is that
his game the
like
fact- yeah.
that he's a self-made man. He took $1 million loan from his dad that he had to pay back with interest, and then this reporting is saying that he actually received about $415 million from his father. He started
Adjusted for inflation, yes.
Adjusted for inflation, he started receiving a $200,000 a year income from his dad at 3 years old.
Well, who didn't?
Well,
Right?
yeah, since he
That
a
was
ch-
his allowance.
Well, if you look at the books,
How did he
$200,000.
scrape by?
What he did was he had Donald on the books as his own landlord and his own building manager and his financial planner with 3 different trust funds.
So he was paying him all that.
Well, yeah, it's nothing surprising unless you're a guy who wrote books about I'm a self-made millionaire. We already know that. First, he said he got $1 million directly, and that was it as a loan.
He was a
Then we
millionaire by
found
the
out
time he was 8.
Then we found out he got $14 million illegally that the Gaming Commission caught him for because he was losing money on his casino. So his dad literally sent his lawyer to just buy $14 million in chips at the Taj or wherever the casino was and just not spend them. And that was $14 million. It was an illegal
I think that was
gift.
3.5 million.
Yeah, it was 3.5.
3.5 was the first one.
And then I thought the next one was
They continued
just
doing it until it was a
150
total
million.
of 14.
150,000. Okay.
They continued doing the total. The Gaming Commission said that he had passed 3.5 million was simply the first time, and they were like, no, we need more.
Right, because he was trying to pay off the interest.
And by the way, you know for a fact that that's not even in question because Hillary Clinton said it at the debate, and he stood there silently. He didn't say a fucking word because he knew. I guess people know about that. But yeah, and then we know all this money that they were given.
Well, his
which just
sister
shows
is
that,
also a federal judge who also received this money.
well, she should not be on the Supreme Court.
Well, he didn't. Well, that's another thing. He didn't even try to nominate his sister. I mean, he put his kids in everything, but his sister's already a judge. And
I prorance you, somebody told him not to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't.
I
that wouldn't
guarantee-
clash.
like he
That
gives a
wouldn't fly.
shit.
Well, you know, I think he didn't because he may not.
He
Think
probably
she'd be loyal
hates
to
his
him.
sister. Yeah.
They
No,
don't-
that's a good thing that he didn't
I
nominate
didn't
his
even know
sister.
Trump had a sister. I'm terrible.
but she's
I'm
a judge that's
stupid.
not considered to be a particularly right-wing judge, so he might not trust her.
Oh,
She might also maybe he doesn't want her to be a judge because she knows who he really is.
yeah.
An insane asshole.
He likes his kids. But he doesn't like.
Well, he doesn't like his kids. He likes Ivanka.
Right, like is a strong word. That's true for his children.
I think he likes Ivanka. I think the rest of them he could care less
I
about.
think he only likes Ivanka because she's good looking and he thinks it reflects well on him.
And he wants to fuck her.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
And he wants to fuck her,
she's
yeah.
like a good
he-
accessory for his whole.
I
Can't think
if,
of the word.
I
and
think
it's an easy word.
if Eric-
brand, I couldn't think
Yeah.
of the word brand.
if Eric
Jesus.
if Eric were as
Lay
good
off that
looking
tea.
if Eric Trump were as good looking
lie
as
down.
Ivanka, he would be just as loyal to him.
I could not agree more with that statement.
If he
I
was a
think you're right.
handsome man, he
Yeah.
would talk about him the way he
Yeah.
talks about Ivanka.
Even his son Barron, like he's cute, but he doesn't look like he's going to be much of a looker either.
Well, I feel like by the time we would find out if Barron is going to grow up to be good looking, he's going to already have changed his name and disappeared into Portland somewhere.
Portland, ugh.
Aren't they considered
just
decently
mean.
good looking, Eric and Donald
I think-
Jr.?
No, what the fuck are you talking about?
I think Don
repugnant.
is better looking than Eric. Eric looks like a young Gary Busey.
Yeah, he
but-
does. He looks like Jake Busey.
Donji has those nice blue eyes and
But like I think Don
posture.
is better looking. And then he doesn't even like I think Tiffany doesn't register with him at all.
I don't know who Tiffany is.
His youngest
It's
daughter.
his youngest daughter.
Oh,
Marla's daughter.
Marla. Wait, there's Ivanka. Who's the one that he had with Marla?
Ivana is who we had Ivanka, the three kids with.
Yeah.
And then he had Marla. Marla is who we had Tiffany with. And then Melania is who we had Barron,
Baron
with.
with.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Baron looks like he's going to turn into like Joffrey Baratheon.
Yeah, they named Barron after what Melania hoped she was. Yeah, you know Melania toured a slave facility today?
Stop it.
No, not living slaves. She toured like some kind of like museum that was dedicated to I forget what it was. It was something like a memorial to slaves. I just picture her walking around and be like, "So when are they going to start working again?
When does that kick him back
Are
in?
they making my bracelets or not?"
Best museum I've ever been to, and I always bring it up, like the D-Day Museum in New Orleans. Have you ever been?
No.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this. I'm putting it out there for your listeners because when you're in New Orleans, you're usually on a bender and stuff. My buddies are like the movie Saving Private Ryan. You know the beginning where they come in on the duck boats, that iconic scene?
Yeah.
Whoever invented the duck boats was from New Orleans, so they built a museum dedicated to D-Day there. And that museum, if you ever get the chance, take 4 hours and it'll fly by and walk through it. It's dedicated to the day, and it's amazing. I mean, and I know this has nothing to do with what I'm saying, but that's how much that museum moved me. If you're ever
Yeah.
in New Orleans, because you get tired of drinking. I said that with a straight face. You get tired of drinking cocaine and hookers, and that's the museum that you would never expect to go to. You would never think of it, but it's there, and it'll blow you away.
I was thinking
And so will the hookers.
the people who go there are just so drunk they think it says "Daddy." at the D-Day Museum.
Let's go to the Daddy Museum. Daddy needs a little fucking time for himself.
New Orleans is a great place to go if you're ever like, why isn't it New Year's Eve today?
Yeah. Don't ever go in the summer. Oh my God, it
I
is
was-
so
I was-
unbearable.
I was there, yeah. Well, no, I was there in March. That was much better.
Yeah, I was there for Mardi Gras once, but I went there in August for a bachelor party, and you would walk out of the bar and your sunglasses would immediately fog up.
Yeah.
Because it's frigid in the bar, thank
Right.
God. And then it's just like so humid. I got us way off topic. What were we talking about? Jews
Oh, no.
running the media?
Something about ways to get women to take their tops off in the street, things you can throw at them.
Which Trump member we would fuck?
Yeah. But yeah, so Trump, basically, it's what people have been saying for a while, but now there's more evidence of it, that Trump would be richer than he is now if he just took all that money and put it into a mutual fund.
Shut up.
Mathematically,
definitely.
yeah. If you took all the money that his dad gave him and just put it in a regular index fund or something, he would basically have more. He would have as much money as he claims to have, which means it's a lot more money than he actually has.
Wow.
And that's not even including, and that means that like he was such a bad businessman that he had to like get all this money from like Russian oligarchs and these loan sharks.
Well,
and
because his
all this-
dad died and he ran out of his dad's money. Because like when he was a young man and his dad was alive, his dad would basically pull him out of the hole every time because he was such a horrible business person that he was always fucking up. But then when his dad died and the money dried up, then he had to go to Russia to get money because no banks would lend him money anymore.
Yeah, I really look forward to when this whole thing is just like a documentary that you just kind of watch. Like, oh yeah, you have to just tell kids like, oh, that was a crazy couple of years, kids.
What's disturbing is like this all comes out because Trump is going to be scrutinized because he's the president, but that the rich people do this shit routinely and just get out of
yeah, but they also go to jail if they get caught for it with the amount of money we're talking about. This is major tax evasion,
but we wouldn't know about it if Trump wasn't president. No one would do these. The IRS did not do these investigations, and they're not going to put him in. They said in the article there's
Trump is audited a lot, but
right.
There's a lot of ways of getting out of this. At the end of the day,
I don't think he as a person is audited. I think his businesses get audited.
I think he's a person as well. I think Trump's personal tax returns were audited because that's what he refused to release, his personal tax returns because they were being audited.
I even remember that. I'm pretty proud of myself.
Oh, it's his personal tax returns because he knows that he basically said, I will never be president if people see this.
Wow.
And they're going to come out eventually, and Mueller gets access to them. It's not like you can tell the investigator not to see your taxes. Look, all I know is I firmly still have hope that we're only in the second act of this movie and that there's going to be a whole hilarious ending to it.
There is.
I want this movie. Well. I want this movie to end with just the condescending faces on every White House reporter as they go through Sarah Huckabee Sanders' final press conference, and they just smugly just like lord over her as she has to squirm and be like, yeah, I was lying about that too. Because she fucking knows. Oh, she is sold.
And that'll be like, what, 2024? Just trying to piss people off. Who's running in 2020 for the Dems? I'm sure for Democrat makes me sound like I know what I'm talking about. When I couldn't name a single person.
It's going to be a huge primary. And I can tell you right now, the people that we're thinking about are Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren.
I'm going to remember these. Thank you so much, Dave.
Avenatti.
The lawyer guy?
Yeah.
You don't want him, do you?
Are you fucking kidding me?
You do? I don't.
He's the worst fucking thing that could happen in the Democratic primary.
Okay,
even I do not need some.
Even I know that. Then good.
Look, he's a fine lawyer. Sure. Fine. You should not be. I think the primary, they will run him out of town. They will humiliate him. They're just going to be like, the last thing we need is Democrat Trump.
Right. Yeah.
We're going to get people like Kamala Harris up there.
That's one of those things where I'm like, maybe Trump's behind it. Avenatti, you should run. Like he's a henchman or something.
Kamala Harris is a killer.
Okay.
She is going to slice people up when it comes down to these debates. Cory Booker wants to be. He might be too. He'd be fine. Every one of these people would be fine.
I would love to see Harris and Holder.
Of course, Eric Holder. Eric Holder, former Attorney General under Obama. He's running for president.
Okay.
He's got a good shot, too. This is going to be a hell of a primary because it's just like the Obama primary when he ran. Everyone knew they were going to win.
Right.
Everyone knew in 2008 the Democrat was going to win. That's why the Democratic primary was
the last time I voted Obama the first time.
Harder. A much harder one.
Right.
You voted for Obama the first time?
Yeah, that's the last time I voted. Like, I have to re-register, and I'm terrible.
At some point, like, not voting for Obama was basically saying, I want more dead Iraqis. It was such a referendum on Bush, who, at the time, I don't know if you know this, was considered a bad president. In the 2000s, there's a guy named George W. Bush that a lot of people call the worst president ever. It's the funniest thing. No one knows who he is now. He's disappeared. He's a successful artist
painting,
these days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to me that, like, I start thinking to myself when I'm watching Trump on TV, like, maybe George W. Bush wasn't so bad.
Well, he wasn't.
Oh, I think he. This is all a conspiracy that George W. Bush, I think, put Trump on made him run, and then told him to insult him so he could.
Bush was going to be the most hated president in modern history,
yes.
And now we long. Now Democrats are putting those billboards back up that say "Miss me yet," because now we do.
Yeah.
Now we're like
we say his name wistfully now. George Bush.
No, the difference between them is I think I made this analogy
before.
How
he said we shouldn't hate Muslims? That guy had some good judgment.
George, I'll make a sports analogy.
Smoke them out their holes isn't that offensive.
George Bush was Vin Baker. A guy that people thought was going to be a good player, but actually kind of sucked. Donald Trump is if I was on the Knicks right now, me, just running around there, not even knowing what the rules are, just yelling at people and saying,
the ball.
This is unfair to me. As the white person on this court, I should be given respect. That's who Trump is. Yeah, we need to...
You want to start?
We need to just stop everything. We need to stop this whole world we have. No, Trump. I mean, it's everyone.
I mean, to be honest, I thought we'd be blown up by now. So, like, I'm a little happy.
The only
about
reason
it, but
we're
I'm
not is that people are taking shit off his desk and he's not noticing. That was the scariest one. Like, you can't convince him not to do something. You can't
steal the
logic him.
paper.
You can't yell at him. But you can wait till he's not looking and just take the paper, and he'll never notice that it was gone.
He
the
won't
rest of his
remember
life.
that it's there.
He is a fucking lunatic. He's not a lunatic. He's an idiot. He's not all there anymore. I've met him. He can't focus.
You met Trump? That's great.
At SNL.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even allowed to talk about it because I signed an NDA.
Fuck!
Which, if I knew what I knew now, I'd be like, shit. I should have just told people that I sucked his dick because then I can make some money off it. Apparently, everyone with an NDA gets paid off. No, I really can't talk about it, but I can tell you that like people talk about what happened there, and like I'm not offsides if I repeat things that have already been publicly said, and I can tell you that he wasn't focused. He didn't seem to get any jokes. Everything he wanted to do seemed to be based on how he looked. Never if it was funny.
How long ago was this? Forgive my ignorance.
During the primary.
Okay.
This was November 2015.
All right. Wow.
And according to other people who were there, he was a real prick. According to other people I heard secondhand, he was talking to himself while watching himself on the monitor, talking about how great he was, literally to himself, is what I've heard personally from someone who I'm not going to name. And this is
Camera right there.
what? Jesus, I can't prove shit. I remember he had a great idea for a sketch about. Have you heard about how you can't talk about Merry Christmas anymore?
That was his idea?
Yeah, that's something I
Oh,
heard.
so he would be making fun of that concept.
No, he thought you should do a sketch about how, like, have you heard people can't say Merry Christmas anymore?
Oh, right.
I call it the war on Christmas. I'm just extrapolating. I assume he said these things. I never actually heard him say any of these things. I certainly didn't hear him say that, hey, what were the ratings for Justin Bieber? Because I'm going to beat them.
Is that what he said?
I don't know. How would I know?
he more of a prick?
I'm just imagining things he said.
Did people say that he was more of a prick to the black cast members?
I don't know of that specifically. I know that he did that one sketch with Keenan, but I mean, he knows how to glad hand people. He knows that's the thing. He's a guy who I've heard knows how to like tell you how great you are to your face, and then he's not going to say
well, that's that narcissism coming into play because they need everyone to love them. So, like, they kind of are very affable in that way that they kind of come off, like, hey, you're the greatest, you did a great job, but like it's all about you liking them. It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah. He just wants to be liked by everyone, and that's why he feels he's owed to be liked, even if he acts badly, because that's kind of a mental illness thing.
I thought that was the syphilis.
Well, you feel like everyone has to be nice to you, even if you're a bad person, because like you just expect it, and that's kind of that's one of his sicknesses. Because he'll say, "Oh, at least no one ever said I was racist until I started saying all these racist things." You hypocrites! Like it does. Like you weren't saying this shit before. Like why he's still talking about Harriet Tubman. He's still talking about how offended he was that Harriet Tubman was going to be on a $20 bill. And then at his rally the day, he was like, hey, did you see what I did? Andrew Jackson still on the 20. Which I think is because they just haven't rolled it out yet.
Yeah.
I don't think he actually stopped it. But the joke that I made was like, he got so mad about Harriet Tubman being on a $20 bill, like he knew what she did. Like he didn't even, he got really mad.
What's his stated reason for not wanting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill? She wasn't a president?
Because Andrew Jackson was the greatest man.
Oh.
I just learned his name.
Okay.
No, it's literally, what it is. It's because he looks at Harriet Tubman's face and he says,
No, I know what it is.
I
I don't
bet
know
a
how
lot
you
of-
can't say that.
right, I bet a lot of people will be very happy that I have the balls to say it.
But wasn't Jackson also supposed to be like kind of like an isolationist also? And so like
He's a hillbilly. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that I guess I would call them white nationalists, but they like to just call themselves nationalists. But they all look up to Andrew Jackson because he was like really anti-globalization.
Yeah, but there wasn't even like telegraphs then. I mean, I don't know what anti-globalization
He had some
meant
particularly
in the 1820s.
harsh policies towards the Native Americans, I thought.
Yeah.
Right? That wasn't that he did some Trail of Tears thing. Was that Andrew?
You might be thinking of Andrew Johnson.
Oh shit, probably.
The one who was actually impeached, the one who came after Lincoln. I might be wrong because they both have bad histories.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop commenting on anyone before.
I think you
Clinton.
might be thinking of Andrew Johnson, but I could be wrong about that. It's very easy to mix them up. Andrew Jackson, according to Trump, was Joe Jackson's father, who helped the Jackson 5 get started.
I thought Joe Jackson. Remember pop 80s singer? He was great. Different for girls.
No
stepping
idea.
out.
I know less
played
about
for the
this.
Joe
White Sox.
Jackson.
I am more in the woods on that than the sports talk.
Dude, you would love Joe Jackson. Your kind of stuff.
The Michael Jackson father, Joe Jackson, or a different guy?
No, the different guy, white dude.
Because I loved his work.
Remember them? We are stepping. No,
No.
okay.
Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson beat. Is he still alive? Joe Jackson? Did he die?
The father of the Jacksons.
Did he ever finally die?
I think he did.
Okay, good.
But we need to wrap this up.
Yeah.
But before we go, everyone just say where they can follow you on social media, what projects you have working on, shows that are coming up. I'll start with you, Dave.
Oh yeah, Dave Cyrus, Cyrus on whatever platform you want. And I'm going to be in LA for a while, so I'm probably have stuff there. But let's.
so jealous.
I don't need to.
How long are you going for?
The rest of October probably.
Lucky. I used to be able to do that. I used to be able to vanish like that.
That's for work. I have to.
Nice.
Sandeep.
Sandeep Sen. You can find me on my website, sandeepsen.com. I list all my shows. And,
SANDIPSEN?
Yes.
Look at that.
So proud of yourself.
I forgive you for everything
Are we
else
on
now.
camera? I'm patting myself on the back.
Also, my podcast, The Fake Outrage Report, that I host with Phil Causey, where we decide what we should be and shouldn't be outraged about. Yeah, that's it.
Gino Bisconti.
My Twitter, which isn't me because I'm banned on Twitter, is Gino Bisconti PA. It's my person. It's me. Fuck Twitter. GENOBISCONTEPA. And follow me there. I do football picks every week where I pick games. They're called Gino's Picks. They're funny. They're comical. Against the spread. Just follow me on Twitter. But thanks for having me. I love hanging out with you guys. Yeah. I feel like I learned more about politics hanging out with you guys than I would, sitting there screaming at a TV because the Yankees don't give a fuck about my money. All right, so there you go.
You can follow me on Twitter at Marissa Smith. You can follow this show on Twitter at The Blame Storm. And you can also check out my other podcast, Big Talk and Brewskis.
Fun podcast.
Yeah, that's a fun. Yeah, you guys have all been on that also. And
I've ruined that podcast as well.
Yeah, so we'll talk to you soon, guys. Bye.